Cool. At least it's not the hottest day of the year this time, so I'm feeling a lot better.
Super cool where I am. On my little island in the north.
Super cool.
That looks really hot.
Lucas, I'm going to let you in on a little editing secret, a little filming secret. It's a backdrop, mate.
And Nisha's not in space.
No, Nisha is in space.
I'm not in, crinkly space.
I like my little setup apart from the black space I've got because I'm normally in 4:3, but I always get jealous of you guys having backdrops.
Oh, look at 90s Lucas, normally in 4:3.
I normally am. I'm the Zack Snyder cut.
Oh, don't start. Not in my episode.
So, far away, Nisha. What are we talking about today?
You know what? Carl kept calling me far away Nisha yesterday, and I was like in front of him.
In the office.
Well,
I'm right here.
You're across the room.
Okay, so I was looking up random facts, as you do, for the fact bar. And I'm really not sure how to say this person's name, but have you ever heard of the guy called Frederick Bauer? He's a food storage scientist.
No, then.
Not ringing a bell.
Not even if you pronounced it correctly.
I don't know, it's spelled B-A-U-R. Bauer?
Bauer?
Bauer.
So he's the guy who came up with the Pringles can, like the tube to store the crisps.
Okay.
So this fact that I read was that he was buried in one.
A Pringles can?
Yes.
Like a giant Pringles can.
Cremated or in a big one?
I'm just going to let you imagine that.
Because, like,
with
I'm
no
imagining...
Just imagine.
My brain went straight to coffin-sized Pringles can.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I thought, oh my god, they made a giant Pringles can and buried him in it. Like,
That's a way cooler story.
But then, obviously, doing more research, because I was reading about it and I was just like, wait, that doesn't make sense. The fact that I read was his children stopped off at a supermarket and got a plain Pringles can. I was like, wait, so he was
plain? What an insult!
Well, you don't want to season your deceased father when he's dead, do you?
At least get the hot and spicy one so it fits the colour of the funeral.
Like, just get some salt and vinegar ones so he tastes nice and vinegary in the afterlife.
I mean, he's going to be a bit vinegary anyway once the decomposition sets in.
Well, no, because I presume they're getting cremated.
Just forced in piece by piece into lots of Pringles cans.
So when I was reading it said his children stopped at a Walgreens on the way to the funeral home to buy his burial Pringles can. And in my head I was like, wait, so a normal sized can? I was like, how does that work? And it turns out he was cremated.
Because what if you took... You know how people take the urns home of their family members and they put them on the mantelpiece? Imagine if you got it mixed up and you're like, oh, there's some crumbs left at the bottom of this one. Just ashes.
Yeah, because he's placing part of his cremated remains in an original flavour Pringles can.
Please tell me they ate the Pringles.
In his grave. So he had a grave.
Yeah, a lot of people that get cremated.
Yeah, the rest...
Yeah.
No, they just cut one of his arms off, cremated that, put it in the can, and put it where his arm was. So he has a Pringles arm.
No, the rest of his remains were replaced in an urn.
Yeah.
Buried along with the can. And then some placed in another urn and given to his grandchildren. So he's...
Holy shit!
Buried all over the place.
He's all over the shop.
Just took him apart and put him in... Let's just want a Smarties packet.
But, oh my god. When I read that, just the image of him just being buried in a giant-sized Pringles can got me. Oh, yeah. That's amazing.
That's great.
It just, obviously, if you didn't know who he was, and you found out that someone's ashes were in a Pringles, you'd just think somebody couldn't afford an urn. It's like a really poor family. The only thing they can afford is in a container like his Pringles.
Urns are a fucking rip-off.
How many urns have you bought in your time?
Well, they were expensive, but the only ashes of family members that we had were basically in just big plastic tubs with information on them.
Oh, you could have saved yourself some money and got a Pringles tube there.
Well, I didn't. This was before my time.
I'm just thinking what unusual coffins you could be buried in.
Do you reckon the inventor of the toilet was buried in a toilet?
No, they just flushed the ashes.
Bye, Grandad.
Yeah, just imagine inventors are buried in whatever they invented.
What would be the most embarrassing thing to be buried in?
A giant light bulb.
A condom.
Well, the giant light bulb's going to immediately just break, and then it's just a bunch of fucking ash and glass.
Dynamite.
That'd be badass.
That's pretty cool,
Yeah.
though.
Getting buried in, like, a giant replica stick of dynamite. You are the gunpowder.
Replica? I'm talking about being taken to war. Imagine if, like, imagine if your commander of your unit died, and then the next time you were sent out, they were like, every grenade has a bit of his ashes in. When you throw a grenade at the
every one
enemy,
of these 1,000 sticks of dynamite has a little bit of your commander inside.
fighting on even in death.
Just a question for you guys. Like, does anyone plan on getting cremated or anything like that? Like, going into the dark zone right now, what's your plans for when you die?
I haven't really thought about it, to be honest.
I was, obviously anyone who's watching this who isn't aware, I have some rare medical conditions which make my internal organs just messed up. So I was always planning on donating my body to science, because then they could study what's wrong with me and perhaps use it to help other people who might have the same thing.
That's fair, yeah. Because I'm very much in the mindset of, like, I'm dead, do what you want with my body. Apart from, not nice things. But, like, take out whatever organs you want.
I can't remember which comedian it was, but now we're going to go into a topic here.
Oh, God.
I can't remember which comedian it was. I think it might have been in one of David Mitchell's soapboxes. But he argued that, like, we always view necrophilia as being,
Brad, where are we going here?
as being, like, the worst of things. Like, whenever anyone talks about necrophilia, being, like, everyone's always like, oh my god, it's horrible, it's the worst thing. But when you're dead, like, you're not going to care.
No,
It's
you're
just
not,
it's a piece of meat. Like,
I think it's
still
more
gross.
It doesn't
like
hurt
cannibalism,
anyone.
where it's like, it doesn't matter if you eat a dead person. It's not the dead person's problem. It's the moral act of doing something like that to a dead person.
Yeah.
Right, but the thing
Gross.
is, like, but unless you believe in the soul, once the person's died, that is just a hunk of flesh.
But why are we? I'm not going to sit here and encourage that you should be like
Lucas,
going around and doing
debate
nasty
why
things
necrophilia and cannibalism are wrong.
A hot take. I
This is not what I
believe
wanted
that
for this
necrophilia
episode.
is a bad thing. Spicy takes.
Oh god,
over
sorry,
here.
we're ruining Nisha's episode here. I just want to
be
clarify,
fair.
I don't agree with those things. I just
You've said
because it came up, I thought I'd mention it.
Well, we're going back to, like, funerals and stuff. I have no idea. Like, I had not planned that far ahead. I occasionally try and think of what funeral song I'd have. It's like, would you have an upbeat one to try and cheer people up, or would you have, like, right, sad one?
I mean, knowing my emo self, it'd probably just be like, "Welcome to the water parade" for 30 minutes on loop,
I thought you just said the Pokemon theme.
and then end it with the Pokemon.
But in a
theme.
somber version, like, I wanna be the very best. Just slowly, and everyone's
or
like,
just play some dumb shit like "I'm Still Standing."
Oh, well, that's
Yeah.
I'm still stunted.
I think, like, honestly, I would want The World Ain't Slowing Down, because that's just one of the songs I really like. There's also a song by The Iron Horse called Lowlands of Holland, which I always thought was a really beautiful song. So maybe that as well. But I want my funeral to be fun. Like, I don't want it to be a shit. I want people to... I want the consensus for everyone to be like, I'm glad Brad's dead, 'cause this party's amazing.
I really like the soundtrack from Pocahontas called Farewell, which is, an appropriate title for a funeral song, and it also makes me cry, so I would like that. Pocahontas
Nisha's
soundtrack.
like, "You'll be fucking upset that I'm gone, okay?"
If
Fucking
everybody
why,
shed
damn it?
at least one tear, you didn't really
and then,
like
you,
me.
and then you open the coffin, I'm like dead, but I'm still crying because the song makes me cry. I'm still
They'll have
crying.
little glass tears on your face so that it looks like you're crying.
Yeah.
Do you remember back in the day when they used to do taxidermy humans for funerals?
What?
Oh, I think
Yeah,
I've seen
I'm not
that.
sure where, like, it was something that was, I don't think it was too long ago, but obviously it wasn't in, like, a lot of countries have outlawed that kind of practice, but in this place, you could have humans taxidermied into a pose that would represent the way that they live their life. So, well, yeah, I mean, if you wanted to be like that, but, like, they had them, like, playing golf
Stop.
or watching TV, I guess, but, like, whatever you like to do in life, you would be represented in death. So, I'm thinking Nisha, like, if she wants everyone to cry, she'd be like that.
I mean, if you want to taxidermy me with, like, after they've taken out any good organs, which is probably going to be none, knowing me, like, just put me on a throne or something. Like, that I'd accept. If you're going to taxidermy to put me in, like, a badass pose on a throne,
Oh,
I'll take it.
you know, in, like, action films, when the hero gets to the end of the tomb and the artifact is being held by the skeleton. That's what I want to be. I want to be the artifact holding skeleton. Just sat on a giant throne with like...
What would you have?
Some kind of sword. Like a magical sword. Just there with it on my lap, like resting or leaning on it like that.
Because that, like, my first thought comes like, well, what do I use for, like, you know, my Switch and stuff? It's like Master Sword in one hand, Pokeball in another. But then I'm like, I'd want like a wizard staff or something so you can be like leant over, like power posing with like your staff or your cane or something.
It has to be set up in such a way where they take the artifact away and you crumble.
I'm just imagining me like holding like a cat up, like, you know, like the Simba.
The Simba pose. No, not an alive cat.
It's not alive.
Who's got that set up where every 2 weeks they have to come and replace the cat for Nisha? Just like, oh no, not another one.
If you're being taxidermied, you just get a taxidermied cat as well.
But then you have to assume the cat's going to die the same time as you. So that's like the Pharaoh style where they kill your cat when you die.
Could you not just at any point get your cat taxidermied in advance in the Simba pose?
People,
if your cat passes away, then it's like, well, great, I've got 30 years to store this taxidermy cat. Yeah.
People are going to come to your house and find a taxidermy cat like that, and when they're like, "Why have you got it done in such a pose? It looks a bit weird." It's like, oh, it's for when I die.
You do is you buy like a medically accurate skeleton, put it with the Simba pose with the taxidermy cat, and then be like, "That's how I'm going to look when I'm dead." So when people come into your house, they just immediately greeted by like, you know, potential future Nisha skeleton of just, this is what I'm going to look like when I'm dead. Like,
in that case, why get a skeleton and not get like a wax figure made or some kind of thing sculpted?
Because then
that's
like creepy. You walk into Nisha's house and there's a wax model of Nisha.
Oh, but a skeleton's fine.
A skeleton's kind of like, oh, that's a little bit spooky. That's okay, but like, you're approaching full-on uncanny valley creepy, I don't want to go in Nisha's house.
I like the idea of Lucas walking through Madame Tussauds being like, oh, this place is so weird. And then he walks into the skeleton wing. He walks into the skeleton wing and is like, oh, it's fine now. Let me give them a hug. Let's get Bornley up in here.
Like, look, I think wax museums are way scarier than when, like, someone bought that 12-foot tall Home Depot skeleton and put them in the garden. Like, the skeletons are just like a little bit of spooky Halloween, you know.
Well, yeah, but that's a giant, clearly fake skeleton. Like, unless it's from an actual giant, it's clearly not a real skeleton. Whereas what you're suggesting is a realistic-looking skeleton holding a stuffed cat in Nisha's house. You're saying that is less creepy than, say, a sculpture of Nisha.
Yes.
In the comments, what would you be more terrified of?
Trying to catch me out.
Skeleton or sculpture?
I don't think I'd want a waxwork version of myself in my house. That would freak me out, especially at night. Can you imagine working at the waxwork museum at night, like being the janitor and it's all dark and stuff, and you just see? Because like years ago, I went to the one in Blackpool. This was, I must have been like 12 or something like that. And you know when you see something out the corner of your eye and you think someone's there or something's moving, but it's not? I had that. I think it was like with the Queen. I don't know what it was. I was looking at the royal family. And I was like looking slightly away and it looked like the Queen moved her head in the corner of my eye and it freaked me the fuck out.
Is that why she's been alive for so long? Because she's just made of wax.
Maybe she was doing that prank that celebrities often do where they replace their waxworks. Because she was just there on that day. I always wonder why you burst into tears whenever the Queen's speech comes on.
I did have it not long ago where, not in frame at the moment, but like my big Stitch teddy that's like, you know, what, 2-3 foot tall, was just sitting on this office chair. And I had my office door open, with all the lights off and stuff when my friends came round, and just the only thing you could see in the shop was Stitch aimed at the door as the doors open, and my friend just like walked upstairs to go to the toilet. Was holy shit. Like, this just, all I saw was like somebody sat in your office staring me down in the darkness.
See, if only you'd replaced it with a skeleton, it would have been less scary.
Well, you know, what's less scary? A wax figure or a skeleton in that situation? Because at least the skeleton I can go, oh look, I can see their ribs.
Yeah, a waxwork would be more creepy. Because it's like an actual person.
That would look like an actual person
like
sat in the
darkness. Staring
darkness.
into your soul because they've got eyeballs. I agree with Lucas on this. Waxworks would freak me out more.
I guess I'm alone.
I'm just gonna we're gonna go round like Brad's place, and he's just got wax figures everywhere.
This is why I'm trying to persuade you. I've had one commissioned for everybody. No, I'll get a waxwork of Carl, sit in front of another green screen, and just puppet him around with strings to do Fat Fiend videos on my own.
Like, that's got to be a Patreon goal and a half, hasn't it? Like, pay us enough money to make a realistic, articulate replica of Carl for a Fat Fiend video.
We should
20,000 patrons.
We should look up how much people on like Etsy would do a wax recreation of someone for. And we should put it as like the stretch goal for Patreon.
I don't know how much money it's cost to get Carl fully recreated. Although realistically, we only need him recreated from the waist up.
That's true. We could save half off.
We could get half off. Yeah.
Half price.
Yeah, and what we could do is we could actually just have him, like, if he's wearing the green screen shirt, we don't even need his torso. Just need his arms and his head. I bet the most expensive part would be recreating that fucking tattoo, wouldn't it?
We still need a torso to support the arms and head and everything.
Nah, we'll get a rib cage because then it won't be scary.
Well, we didn't say it was meant to be scary.
No, it's just because you said the reason why the Stitch one, if it was a skeleton, would be scary is because you could see its rib cage.
Exactly. Because if I was scared that somebody was about to come around the corner, and I'm like, oh, is that a person approaching? I can't tell because I made of wax. Or, oh, is that a person approaching? No, I can see their fucking bones. It's a skeleton.
Wait, in that situation, though, you'd be like, is that a person approaching? But you wouldn't be able to tell it was made of wax, whereas the skeleton would be see-through. If I saw a person. But if I saw something coming towards me, and it was a skeleton that was moving, I'd be more scared than if it was just a person.
We've never claimed the skeleton was moving, Brad. The skeleton's always been locked in place.
Just been arguing this entire time. Yes.
This is the best episode we've done so far.
To sum it up, I'd get buried on a Pokeball.
Of course, yeah. So if you had to pick a coffin, what coffin would you pick? So Pokeball for Lucas.
I want a treasure chest. Just for the hilarity of someone digging it up and opening it, it's just my ash.
That's like a mimic chest, isn't it? Oh, what's in here? Oh, shit.
I just realised the irony of putting the ash in the Pokeball.
Finally.
Oh. Fuck's sake. I have something really quirky, like, I don't know, like a digital camera shaped one or something. Or something really fancy and gothic. So it's like covered in like red roses and it's black and it's just vines and skeletons. Yeah, skull and crossbones.
The least scary thing about
moons and stars as well. Galaxy. Oh, a galaxy coffin.
No, but like a goth galaxy. Like that would be a pretty cool theme.
Great talk. Cheerful topic.
Do you have an outro?
Skeletons, wax museums.
You don't like with outros.
Well,
I would say the word outro or
it's your signature outro. You don't have to do that in every video.
Outro!